We'll see if they elect to pick that again in this third game.
Would it surprise you, though, for Rival to still prioritize the Fafnir pick? Because Kellis is he's shown that he is more than adept at this Fafnir selection. So do you feel as though Rival is making the right choices by first picking it up every single time?
I think that they're doing a good job by picking it up in conjunction with the double hunter comp, right? They're making it work for the second pick, but this time after losing game 2, they elected to go for that first pick. So I don't necessarily expect a first pick Fafnir. I think that they're more than likely going to switch things around, probably stick to that Kabrakan first pick.
Kiki, do you anticipate Luminosity to try shaking things up a little bit, or would you just try and run it back?
I think they should just try and run it back and do what they did, but I can see Rival picking Raven here, or I'm not sure actually, maybe Fafnir, but I don't think you'd pick Faf early against Jeff. I think Jeff will just continue with Sylvanas.
And I think personally, Rival did a great injustice to themselves in game number 2 whenever they picked up Susanoo instead of the Raven in game number 2 whenever they had the Fafnir locked in. But this time, Fafnir yet again locked in. It seems that Callis really likes this god on support, and this could also lead to the potential double hunter yet again.
And it's not even just Callis really liking Fafnir for a support. I think his team in general really likes having Callis on the Fafnir, because you might as well let one of your key players pick his favorite god. Having such a comfort pick, especially in a LAN environment with so much on the line, is really important as far as trying to find progression to the next stage.
Luminosity to respond to this Fafnir pick. Poseidon was the counter pick potential for Baskin every single time. And against the Fafnir, it would make a lot of sense here to try to counter that, but it's going to be the Ra instead. It still has a lot of artillery compared to the Thoth in the second game, but instead now you're having a lot of that sustain option instead.
I think they were just taking that Ra away from Wolfie. They banned it both previous games, but this one they just want to take it away again.
So you really feel as though Luminosity is trying as much as possible to prevent Rival from picking up a mage in the mid lane?
Yeah, I think they want to leave. They want to keep Rival in the same comps. They want to try and get them to play the double Guardian and double ADC.
So if you're Rival, do you look to make the mage selection then within your next 2 picks, or do you just try to let it fly?
I would personally. I love having a mage on my team. The turn from their ult on a mage is just ridiculous.
Zeus is still open, Poseidon is still available, Toph, Nox, we've seen some of that option available. The world is basically at the team Rival's mid hands at this point. And
with Raven still being on the table for Rival, because that is a jungle pick that EU has been leaning towards. It will be Ram and Vulcan selected, however, for the side of Rival. And Kiki, you called it. You said, go ahead, pick up that mage in the top 3 picks. And do you feel like this will work out significantly better? How's the Vulcan-Ra matchup in particular?
I wouldn't know the matchup, but I don't think I would have picked the Vulcan that early. There was still Thoth, as you said, Thoth, Poseidon, Vulcan. There was still plenty up. They couldn't ban all of them. I would have probably looked for Ice's jungle pick, because I've already banned 3 of them out.
Agree. The Vulcan is not one of these high priority mage picks. You're looking more on your MVP all-star Ice baby to try to get off to a good early start, because it doesn't truly make sense for Rival as to how you're going to synergize with this Vulcan quite yet. There's no Odin pick, there's no Kabrakan pick to lock people into a little corridor or a cage. So the question is now, Luminosity, they're going to take away some of the setup potential for this Vulcan.
And can we expect to maybe see the Raven ban as well from Luminosity?
I wouldn't be surprised, actually.
Yeah, I think they should. I think it's a really strong pick. There it is, the Raven ban.
I completely agree with Luminosity's decision-making there. You don't want to allow that setup potential, like you just mentioned, totally to go through. And Rival trying to take a hit at the Hunter, but I'm not necessarily certain that Hu Yi's the way to go.
Well, depending on the way Barracuda would want to play it, Hu Yi has been making work done on the side of Emolito. The start of the back harpies into the red is a pretty good one comparatively to teams that just start in the lane looking for that purple buff invade, especially when your support goes for that Bumba's Mask pickup to help clear the red.
Do you think that there's a slight possibility? Actually, that Geb selection immediately removes my next chain of thought was possibly Jeff on that ammo, but Jeff is going to opt for the Geb, which, what kind of Hunter would you like to see paired with this, Kiki?
Oh, I don't think it really matters. Barra's just that good of a player that I want him to pick pressure, but I think it doesn't matter. Barra is just that good of a player.
A lot of these games thus far have been dictated by Barracuda staying in the dual lane by himself in a 1v2. So we're more than likely going to see Jeff start off in the mid lane on this Geb anyway. It doesn't truly matter what Barracuda is going to be left alone with. Unless it's the Kuzumo.
The Bologna selection for, I'm not even going to acknowledge the Kuzumo, I already know Bear's trolling with that one. But the Bologna, as far as Rival is concerned, going to Deathwalker, do you think that that was the best selection possible here for against Luminosity?
Well, he wrecked on it at Gauntlet. I don't know why you would have played it in the first 2 games, so I hope he wrecks on it. I tip Rival to win.
The most important game, Deathwalker with his Bologna, I gotta give it to Rival.
You gotta give it to Rival? All right, well, we'll find out what happens next as we go into game number 3. We've got Hindu, we've got Huggsy, and all the fun coming your way.
Thank you very much, analysts. All the analysts pretty much seem to think Rival's got this one in the bag, Hindu, but I don't know. Luminosity on some favorite picks.
Comfort picks for both teams again. This is sort of a repeat of game 1, different strategy involved. Love the idea of Luminosity going for Ra right early on. It seems a bit strange at first when you think of the god pulls that were available during the starting picks, but the difference is that with Fafnir locked in straight away, Sylvanas can't be picked then, which means you've got the sustained advantage unless you're going to have to try and force it elsewhere for Rival.
The thing with Ra as well is it's a little bit hard to land a lot of your abilities. You know, your primary damage coming out of your 1 and your ultimate, hard abilities to hit, but you look at the side of Luminosity and how much setup they have. Amaterasu, Mercury, Geb, even Skadi provides some CC.
Skadi's going to be a big problem in this one for the team of Rival, because that permafrost, when that's on the ground, it's going to shut down Susano's mobility. It's going to cause problems for Wolfie if he wants to go in for the backfires, because he'll slip and slide all day. Not only that, the rest of the team will also struggle against it, and it's a fine laning phase for Barracuda still, even with the nerfs to Calder coming through.
It's still a strong pick. It's still provides a lot of wave pressure, and it's just, you know, as you said with the permafrost, just so annoying to play against.
And that's all it's about, really, is use that permafrost to your advantage in these close team fights, cause them to be a little bit more scattered than they want to be, catch somebody out of position because the permafrost maybe moves them around a little bit more. That's what we'll be looking for when we get to the team fight stages. But right now, it's back to square one for both these teams here, Huggsy, because they were both switched for the very first time. Both Game 1 and Game 2, Luminosity were order side. Now it's Rival's turn. Let's see if we see any changes.
Well, speaking of a change, Geb, something we haven't said very much this tournament, being played as a support for Jeff Hindler. You know, something that suits his style very well, a lot of appeal for his team, but it still has a lot of initiation as well.
And you talk about his style play. Well, we don't see too much Fafnir coming out of Jeff Hindler either, which surprised me at Rival looking to draft this Fafnir as a first pick consistently. If they would have invested more time into looking towards the North American scene, and specifically Luminosity, they would have discovered that Jeff would have gone for something that's a little bit better appealing for the likes of Barracuda.
Boxing match here in the early game between these two teams in the solo lane, but Baskin and Jeff going to be able to take away those small creeps on the speed buff there. Just a little bit of experience, and this is something we're starting to see out of a lot of these high-level teams, is not committing for buffs early, but just taking the small creeps to get that tiny experience advantage at the start. So smart to see.
All about the small gains, because in the end they will pay off if the game continues going that way. You keep getting those small gains consistently, turn into a huge lead. Talking about lead though, Barracuda being left in this wave is going to get a full wave cleared here. It's going to be 2v1, but there's against a minion wave, and Callus is going to be careful. He does have Meditate though, so Barra could still be in trouble.
Barra is level 3, so he's going to have a little bit, another skill online potentially, or one that's at level 2. It looks like he wants to go a little bit aggressive.
That was a mistake.
Yeah, forces the rollout of vote.
Yeah, Luminosity did really well there. Sorry, Barracuda specifically because he's on his own. You actually saw Rival lost 3 minions to the tower there because we were both still fighting and dealing with Barracuda. So Barracuda with a 2v1 denies Rival experience.
Looking towards mid lane, Wolfie on this Vulcan. We saw Pretty Prime play that earlier, and Yaman as well. How much does Wolfie play Vulcan?
That is one of the craziest questions you've ever asked me, Huggsy. Him and Pretty Prime are probably the best, most well-known Vulcan players in Europe. Pretty Prime has been known and has been seen as time's gone on. I'm hoping Wolfie can live up to the standard that he's known for over in Europe today. He's hit some major, major Earthbreakers in this game as time has gone on. If he can do it in this set, it could be really important for them as well. But he's got to position himself well against the backline of the Mercury that's always going to be trying to chase him down.
And it gives the team of Rival a little bit more of this late game as well. You know, they've got Vote on the Ram, which is late game, but what the Vulcan provides is a lot of area late game damage. We see how much those meatballs and backflats can hit for in the late game. And that, I think, is really good for them to have. You know, last game, they didn't really have that much late game, and they allowed a full late game team to Luminosity, and then they just gave up so much pressure. The Mercury was able to carry. Now, they've got a little bit of that late game potential themselves.
Precisely, and that's where the adjustments have happened. Talking about adjustments, 3 members of Luminosity in mid, catch out Ice Baby.
Scary.
He has to get beads. As Scary he's being bullied in the solo
Getting bullied in the solo lane, but Deathwalker still has a full minion wave there to contest with. He has hit level 5 though, but I don't think he's going to go for the solo kill just yet. That'll be a very, very ballsy play.
Standard matchup though, Bologna is going to dominate in Amaterasu in the early stages of the game. Scary D knows this matchup well enough, he's been against it enough times. However, Rival, last game, they went for a cheeky Oracle's attempt. It could have been a Gold Fury. This time they're going for the gold completely.
Baskin's not level 5, so he doesn't have the snipe online to contest, and Rival take the first Gold Fury. Very smart call out of there, out of the Europeans.
Great call, and one of the biggest effects of that was having Callus there with that Dragon Form, being able to coerce the team, giving them extra power that they needed. Ice a little bit aggressive in the snipes!
Vote MBK hits the last one, but Ice has got the basic, the in-hand to get the kill onto Barracuda. First blood to Europe.
But credit where it's due to Ice Baby yet again. He is the initiator for this team. He is the real true carry of this squad. He sets up so much as time has gone on. He's growing into a very, very dangerous jungler.
Exactly right. And Barracuda, they're not level 5, wasn't able to get off his ultimate, but he even still didn't have anything to protect himself against a CC coming out. No way, he had beads online.
Did have beads online, but I don't think beads would have really saved him in the grand scheme of things. He was hoping that Jeff would get there in time. If he holds the beads, they could turn that one around.
And now Luminosity looking for a return here over on the right-hand side. Dazzling offensive comes out, but Deathwalker wants to go in. Sonic Boom from Mars. Deathwalker feeling himself a little bit too much there.
But the problem is, I think Luminosity will feel themselves even more in a second because they might be going back towards the fountain. Ice and Callus are in, and Scary's going back as well.
It was all a bait, calculated, as Deathwalker would say, trading himself out there 1-for-1. But still, Luminosity get themselves a kill, which I think is all right, you know, trading 1-for-1 there, because it does get them kind of past that mental block of getting the first kill. Speed buff, though, is going to be invaded here from Rival, and it looks like they pick it up successfully.
They do, and they also do a nice bit of poke damage onto Mask, which will force him back to the base, on top of the fact that they can now steal the blue buff as well. No sustain available for Mask to be able to continue to farm up that one. So the answer back from Rival there, honestly, it was a misplay from Deathwalker, if anything. And by misplay, he could have walked away with the Eagles rally. There was no way for Luminosity to collapse unless we saw Mask dive the tower with the Sonic Boom. If he wants to go for that one, I'm pretty sure Rival would have come out a bit better off. Instead, he was looking for the highlight reel play, 2v1, get a kill.
Unfortunately, it ends up into a highlight reel play for Luminosity. Fire Elemental is going to be taken here early by Rival. We're seeing a little bit of a lead for them here early after that first blood and gold for you, about 2,000 gold.
It's funny because game 1, the Elemental conversation on the right-hand side was all in Rival's favor. Game 2, the Elemental conversation was all in Luminosity's favor. Game 3, there's no conversation. Rival have just controlled most of them right now.
They're going to take out those Oracle Harpies as well on the Gold Fury side, farming very, very efficiently right now as Rival. You know, we see them got a huge gold advantage from that Gold Fury, but the experience as well, they've managed to farm that up, and that's just pure efficient farming around the map.
And that 2.5k experience you can see, it's all about who has those experience leads right now. You can see Mask is level 6 at the moment, Ice Baby in the mid lane now hitting level 9, 3-level lead on the jungler. Obviously, Susano's still good in the later stages. He's not Mercury level of 1 punch, 1 kill, but he's still going to be able to do a lot of pressure on this map until Mask can get to that point.
This is what we needed to see last game out of Ice Baby, is being around the map, influencing every corner of it early, and putting this Mercury behind. He wasn't able to do that, and Mask was basically able to have free reign, and that's how Mask was able to get to the late game stages.
Barra, he doesn't know, he's getting ganked yet again. Cold here to the rescue though for a little bit. However, Vote giving chase as well. The beads are now down, but on the right, there's still a fight going on.
Vote picks up the kill there in a 2v1 situation against Barracuda. Jeff Hindler managed to pick up a kill on a Wolfie in exchange with the rest of his teammates, I should say, assisting him there in the mid lane.
It's actually an even trade across the map, that, because of the fact that Wolfie's going to be very instrumental to the magical power and the late game burst damage that Team Rival are going to have, whereas killing Barracuda for the side of Rival is giving some more free farm to Rama to hit his stride to be able to continue to fight against Scotty.
I have to say, I love what Rival are doing, though. They're putting Mars behind, they're putting Barracuda behind. When you look at last game, who really carried Luminosity through that game? Barracuda and Mars.
You got to give most of the credit to Master. He did a game-changing Sonic Boom. They just swung that game completely in favor of Luminosity. However, they've got to be careful of Scary D, because he's just going to silently farm away in that lane, and Scary D is the most dangerous member in terms of kills on the side of Luminosity that we don't really talk about too much, but he always seems to get a good 4 or so for every death he takes.
That's really kind of odd to think about when you think back historically about Scary D on this roster and his initial struggles in the solo lane for this team, and now he's being seen as potentially the most dangerous member of that squad. Insane progression there from the solo lane of Luminosity. Speed buff being started up by...
No. I was just watching Rival there with 2 members like, please don't go aggressive on this. There's 4 members there. You're warded to high heaven as well. You don't have any vision yourself. So they do end up falling back as once again, look where Ice is.
Yep. Barracuda doesn't know he's there. Okay, the wave spotted him out. He does know he's there now, but still, he should be all right. Ice and Vote spotted out by Jeff Hindler as well. Barracuda basically protecting his tower.
So this is actually going to put Barra behind and Jeff behind a little bit more by having Ice Baby in this lane. Jeff is going to have to sit in the dual lane a little bit more, and he's being pinned to the Gold Fury side of the map, which can create some pressure for Rival on the right-hand side if they see it. But you can see right now, Deathwalker's still fighting. Mask has that Sonic Boom, and he was looking for it, but Deathwalker's just too healthy right now.
Just too healthy, not far enough up the lane, but it means Rival's going to go ahead and look for this Gold Fury. Mask was around that right-hand side, but Mercury, a lot of mobility, can get over to from one side of the map to the other very, very quickly. Now Luminosity have some ward control on the Gold Fury, so they will be able to know that Rival's in this area.
And that was more down to a ward spot the Rival had around the speed buff area of Luminosity there. They saw the rotation coming out from Luminosity, so thought if we go to gold here, we can either get it or have a fight, which will be 2v3, 2v4. Problem was is Luminosity's rotational ability with Aurora and Mercury seems pretty good. Pretty damn good.
Oracle Harpies being started up by Rival. Mask looking for a Sonic Boom around the corner, not going to find it, but now this means Luminosity can take vision control over the Gold Fury pit with this Oracle Harpies. Mid-camp's going to be started up here as well by LG.
1 for 1. No, both went the way of LG. You are correct. I love the fact that we can see that now. We don't have to have guessing games. The little ghost effects that come up, blue or red, will signify which team actually got them.
And it's good that Luminosity secure that. They're starting to build back up the gold differential between themselves and Rival, and importantly, the experience difference as well. Mask still 3 levels behind Ice Baby, however.
He is still 3 levels behind, but at the same time, it's still a Mercury. So the longer the game goes on, he will still hit critical point at some point. It just delays that. That's all that's happening right now. Mask wants to look for farm or easy picks. You can see the aggression they put onto Deathwalker there. It turned into something. There's a chance for getting himself back in this game.
Soul Lane's not always an easy pick though. Ice Baby and Kalas looking towards his left-hand side. Just keeping pressure on Luminosity away from this Gold Fury. Now they're starting up. Look at this huge damage coming out. And there's the ultimate from the Vulcan. Going to secure that one for Rival. Their second of the game.
Love the call from Baskin to try and fire the snipe over the wall at the end, then just try and catch it in the end and get the kill for themselves. Deathwalker on the right-hand side, though, was getting pressured heavily by Scary D, but he's happy to take a boxing match if it means Scary can't rotate to that fight at the Gold Fury.
Importantly, Deathwalker's hit level 12, Scary hasn't, so he does have a second relic slot available when he goes next back to base.
And this is just a game of who backs first, because there is pressure advantage there. However, look at this, Rival is just dominating the whole map. How did they get gold and Portal Demon uncontested? LG, please?
I mean, this is what we saw out of Luminosity last game and what we saw out of Rival in the first game. These neutral objectives are so important in SMITE right now.
Sure, and the one thing is I'm surprised that Luminosity just giving up so many of them. Obviously, you're waiting for Mercury to get there, you're waiting for Scotty to get there, you don't want to give up too much in the early game, because if you do, it makes it so much more difficult to try and turn it back to an even one if things continue as they are. We're
seeing another early Spear of Desolation here in the mid lane out of Wolfie. We've been seeing that a fair bit out of Mages here at this tournament. Barracuda and Vote trading some poke back and forth, but back to the Spear of Desolation. You know, what does it really provide? And getting it so early, isn't it a decent gold investment? It's like 2,600?
It's got everything you want as a mid laner. There's no reason to not pick up this item. No. Cost is expensive, yeah, but the power spike is even better as the game goes on. Ultimate out of Scary D, though, into Deathwalker, but he's not panicking just yet.
Ice Baby uses those beads as well, so he's not tossed back by Mask. Mask still have an impact beat despite being a couple of levels down here. 3 members of Luminosity onto the right-hand side tower.
Oh,
Baskin, though, taking a lot of damage there from Wolfie.
And that's what a Vulcan can do if you get the right combo off. Just hanging around, sneaking in the jungle. Kind of a similar play out to Anher in a weird way of like the jungle is actually his friend. The turret can hide around a corner, get some free damage off. Meatball Mariano into the backfire and you got problems.
And the thing about Vulcan as well is he's very disruptive with that meatball. If he can hit it, it's a knock-up as well as a huge amount of damage.
Definitely, and those knock-ups cause a lot of problems because once you're knocked in the air, there's nothing you can do. Knock-ups, the best form of CC.
Jeff Hindler pulled back there by Ice Baby. Here comes the Typhoon, and all of the ultimates are coming up now by Rival, just investing them into the support play, and they could do it at this stage, and they're looking like they might even find a kill into Scary D. They do. Mask gets a Sonic Boom, but not before Wolfie picks up his second.
And Wolfie getting the double kill is so big for them too. We mentioned the Spirit of Desolation already. He's already got decent build with terms of pen, power, and he's starting to swing for the houses now. I love the idea of Rival to siege the tier 1 tower too, because there's no other pressure on the map that Luminosity can answer back. No Gold Fury available, because Rival have it. No Portal Demon available, because Rival have it. No red buff available to steal, because Rival have it.
Even the mid camps are starting to fall the way of Rival as we see Ice Ice Baby take those right-hand side ones. Going to clear up the mid wave as well. Vote NBK, pretty quiet over here on the duo lane side of things, only really taken fights when Ice Ice Baby's been around, which I think is a shift in his playstyle, which I think is really, really positive for him.
But when you have a lead in the duo lane as well, sometimes it's dangerous to continue to try and play to the strengths of it, of going aggressive. You sit and farm against Barracuda, you control your side of the map now and control the minion waves and don't lose any. Barra is going to be under-leveled the whole time against you as long as that continues. It forces Barra to make something happen.
And as well as that, it keeps Barra under-leveled against you and it keeps him under-leveled against the rest of your team and away from team-fighting situations, which is where he really shines and where this roster of Luminosity really shines.
And Vote's job this game is to contain Barracuda. Don't give up the tower on this left-hand side. Just continue the pressure, just continue to farm up. But at the same time, Luminosity have to correct some issues, and that's why you can see Mask on this side now. He does have Sonic Boom the whole time, and with playing a Mercury, you have the potential to ult from behind a tier 1 tower, and sometimes not even get spotted before it's too late.
He's got on this stone-cutting sword again, so still playing for the late game here, investing in a relatively expensive item, just trusting in his team that they'll be able to survive to a stage where he's able to make a major impact.
And Rival, just like Vote MBK on the left-hand side here, just continuing to farm up, they can just take the foot off the gas for a minute now. There's nothing in the jungle for them to go and contest, other than the speed buff that has spawned from LG. Could be a risky one for themselves, especially with 2 still in the mid lane, and 4 members of LG are here.
Deathwalker dashing towards the side of Luminosity.
He got it. He got it. He stole that away. And now Scary's in trouble.
Scary forces the dazzling offensive mask, looking for the Sonic Boom, but Scary D's already dead. There's nothing there for Luminosity. A free kill here for Rival, and this is just incredible to see out of a team that last year was one of the bottom teams in Europe.
Yeah, well, to be fair, this is the story of Europe. We talked about this was a David versus Goliath, but the problem is I think Rival have secretly been bodybuilding and steroiding behind the scenes because they're the Goliath right now.
Deathwalker going in again. Here's the ultimate from Wolfie. Who's it going to hit? It's going to hit 3. Barracuda's one of them. Sonic Mask.
Oh, Mask. Oh, Mask. You legend. The Sonic Boom was good, but Vote snipes are even better. And now it's a 1-for-1 with the tier 1 being pressured.
And there's nothing that Luminosity can do here. Basket can clear the way, but Rival's so tanky. Mask was actually stunned there. Good shield from Jeff Hindler, and the heal from Basket will keep him healthy. And now it looks like Mask actually might want to chase these guys down.
But round the corner was waiting Wolfie, and he just got spotted out in the nick of time. Well, that could have spelled demise and doom for Mask. Bad news for Luminosity again, though. Gold Fury's just spawned, and look at where Rival are. On point and on time.
Oracle Harpy's going to be here as well, so a huge amount of farm is going to swing the way of Rival. Unless Baskin can get some kind of monster steal here, but good discipline from Rival to disengage and to leash that Gold Fury. Ice Ice Baby now all up in Baskin's face, and nothing Baskin can do there.
But notice what Ice Ice did there. He went onto the run. He would have potentially been able to solo Baskin with no issues whatsoever. But as soon as he sees that Scary D and Jeff were alongside him, Gold Fury goes down, immediately disengages. Rival are like the second coming of Aquila. They seem to be the second coming of Energy as well with how they're playing. Another European team that just came out of nowhere.
Oh, well, look, if they make it past this round, we can start making the comparison to Energy, because Energy didn't make it past the quarterfinals, falling to Obey. And the winner of this game actually faces off against Obey.
That is true. They're all going to be up against Obey next, and that's one thing that Rival, they won't be thinking about that right now. You heard the interview a little bit earlier on with Ice Ice, actually, who was just talking about the situation of like, listen, we've not prepared for any particular team because we don't know who we're going to face.
Yeah.
Obviously, they would have practiced a little bit more for LG, knowing that was going to be their first set here. But they've not done anything too crazy that we've not seen out of them before.
Portal Demon being starting up again by a Rival. Luminosity hanging around this area looking to contest it.
They have to defend this one now, and they will steal it away. I believe Baskin was the one that got it, but Baskin could be in trouble because Ice Ice is waiting for him.
And Vote is here like a lawnmower, cutting through Luminosity. In jumps Kalat. There's the Vulcan ultimate as well. Vote up in the sky looking for Baskin. 1 snipe, 2 snipe misses, but here he is. Rolls forward, picks up the kill with the auto attack, and now he's looking for Scary D, who's trapped in a wall. The dog comes out from Barracuda, but he's the next target on Rival's hit list.
Ban Vulcan against Europe. If you need a memo for that, you've pretty much got it now if you're watching at home. Vulcan cannot get through against the likes of Wolfie and Pretty Prime because they are causing so many issues for the North American teams. Right now, Rival are going for the Fire Giant again. Am I having deja vu of the last 2 games here, Hughes?
Yeah, it just seems to be a one-sided match either way. You know, first, Rival had the advantage in Game 1. Then Luminosity looked unstoppable in Game 2. And now, Rival again just cutting through Luminosity like paper.
Credit where it's due, though. There's all the players in the team are playing well, but Ice Baby, for me, is going slowly under the radar. He's the one that is setting up most of these engagements time and time again. You saw the pick that he did onto Baskin there after the snipe came through. They did get the Portal Demon, but what Ice did was he patiently waited for Baskin to rotate to a position where he was outside of the heals were down, his escape abilities were down, his damage was down, and then the team collapsed and forced Luminosity to take a fight that they really didn't want to.
It's so hard to play as a Ra against a Susano because he can just stick on you like nothing else. As you were saying there, Ra's got no escapes, and Susano, he'll just run at you. He will run at you, press the W key, press his 1, his 2, his 3, his 4, and you're dead.
Yep, especially because the extra mobility for every one of your abilities that are down. Your passive kicks in, giving you the extra movement speed as well. Big thing now for LG, keep an eye on what Mask is doing, because what Mask is trying to do here is catch up in farm and get as much as he can. The problem is now there's 3 members of LG all trying to do the same thing on this right-hand side, because they all recognize now that this is farm what we can to try and get ourselves back into this one. We can't defend tier 1 towers, we've got to give them up. But look at mid lane, what is Ice and Callus doing? They were looking to pick Geb there. For a second, I actually thought they were going to get him. Instead, the 4-3 members on Deathwalker.
It's taking a very long time to
my
kill him
god!
though. Oh my goodness! Deathwalker going in!
And that was against 3 members of Luminosity. Still another one on the way. Deathwalker standing, juking his way out. Barra's on the hunt though, and he wants to pick up the kill. He'll get it, but Rival get the win. Why, Husey?
That was the highlight play Deathwalker was looking for. But look at Rival now. Left-hand side, Phoenix falls down. Middle towers is going to go down as well with this Fire Giant buff still on Rival, but Deathwalker, that is a solo lane play right there. Sacrificing yourself for the greater good and even making the fancy play there and taking out one.
And you talk about the greater good, it's not necessarily about getting the kill, like you said. It's all about stalling the enemy team. They can't push for a tier 2 with 3 members then because they're all trying to fight him, which allows Rival to get the tier 2 in left, the Phoenix in left, and then also the tier 2 in the mid lane. Great play from Rival, good communication from the squad as well to recognize where the danger threats were and how much they could hold on to and keep a grasp of this game.
You know, Mast, he hadn't died before that, and he was like starting to come back a little bit in this farm, but that's just put him behind now. I don't think there's a chance for him to catch back up to Ice. Maybe, I mean, already, you know, 10, 11,000 gold and experience differential, but we keep saying this Mercury late game, you know, let's see what he can do late game, but it doesn't look like Rival's going to even give Luminosity a chance to get there. Well,
remember when Bellona wasn't picked at all in the solo lane this year? Deathwalker made it happen again, and Deathwalker once again is showing that it's still viable and it's very strong at all stages of the game. It's one of the reasons Rival love to draft it.
It's just a pick that does everything. It does so much of what you want. You know, the disarm is a huge part of it. Kit that's not even really talked about that much, and that just shows the strength of the character.
Well, we're not even talking about itemization yet, what Deathwalker's gone into here, but this is all shut up Mask, you're doing nothing. Shut up Barracuda, you're doing nothing. He's got so much health in this build that even though you can see Barry's build is good, he's got no chins. One of the best things against health builds is chins, and no one has it just yet.
And now Rival looking for this right-hand side Phoenix. Daylessing defensive was used. There's a Sonic Boom as well. Up in the sky goes for MBK. 1 snipe, 2 snipe, 3 snipe. No kill just yet for Rival, but they are still looking for the Phoenix. Ice Baby picks up Mars. Good Geb Cataclysm there, but the Vulcan ult comes through. Deathwalker taking a lot of damage, but it doesn't matter because all the kills are falling Rival's way.
Jeff Hindler will fall down here, won't escape. Neither will the Phoenix on the right-hand side, so Rival get a kill, rotate towards mid. Mask tried to make a really good play with that Sonic Boom there, but he got no support because the rest of Rival completely ignored him as Ice gets a double. Barra's dead.
Bye-bye Baskin, bye-bye Barra, bye-bye Luminosity. Rival get the DSI, Ice Baby with a triple kill, and Team Rival with a 2-1 victory over Luminosity.